By 2050, the percentage of the world's population over 60 is expected to nearly double. People today are living longer than they ever have before. Virtually every country enjoys a higher life expectancy today than 50 years ago. But when we talk about the aging population, we go straight to its negative impacts, like how it will be a social and economic liability. But it doesn't have to be that way. There will be some challenges, but if we deal with those challenges successfully, it will translate into opportunities. We're going to talk about two things in today's lesson. First, we'll discuss challenges brought by the aging population. And second, we'll explain how to cope with the aging population. Between 2015 and 2050, the percentage of the world's population over 60 is expected to nearly double. Thanks to developments in medicine and technology, the human lifespan is gradually increasing. While this is certainly a good thing for individuals, it does not come without a cost. Aging populations are becoming a huge problem in many countries, especially developing countries. One of the biggest problems is the huge strain on the economy. A greater number of elderly people means there is a higher dependency ratio. Our course explains the effects of this. A high dependency ratio means that there are fewer working people to support health, social security, and education services, which are used by the dependent sectors of a population. If the retirement age does not change and the life expectancy continues to increase, taxes may need to increase. More people will claim pension benefits with fewer people working and paying income taxes. This will require those in the workforce to pay high tax rates. Additionally, retirees pay lower income taxes because they are not working. A shortage of workers would increase wages, but possibly lead to wage inflation. Alternatively, firms would need to find ways to encourage more people to enter the workforce by perhaps being more flexible with their hiring requirements. Furthermore, higher savings for pensions may reduce capital investment. If people are putting a higher percentage of their income into pensions, it could reduce the amount of money they have for other investments. This could lead to lower rates of economic growth. The costs of medical care are also becoming a problem. More people are living longer, but that doesn't mean that they are free from medical issues. As people enter their senior years, they are more likely to develop health problems. With more people living longer, there are more people who require medical care. Therefore, the amount spent on medical care is higher than ever. Our course talks about this growing problem. Worldwide, more than 46% of people aged 60 and over have disabilities. Getting meals and medical care, for example, becomes both expensive and difficult. As a result, the costs of providing services to the sick and disabled can become a huge problem. Some of the biggest difficulties seniors need to deal with are geriatric diseases, meaning diseases which old people get. Our course gives examples of these types of problems. Some of the leading conditions that accompany aging include vision problems, hearing loss, diabetes, and dementias such as Alzheimer's disease. These problems can lead to disabilities that make it difficult to live without assistance. There is another health problem growing worse among seniors in today's society. While it may not cost money, it is costing seniors their mental and emotional health. This problem is empty nest syndrome. Empty nest syndrome is the negative feelings parents have after their children grow up and leave home. These feelings include depression, sadness, or grief. Empty nest syndrome is not a clinical diagnosis. Rather, it describes a transition period which many aging people experience. Parents may encourage their children to become independent, but having to let go of our children can be painful. Having no children at home can create feelings of loneliness and loss. The children who once needed your care are suddenly gone. You might miss the daily interaction you had with your child. Furthermore, you might also become extremely worried about your child's safety and how they'll be able to survive on their own. This is becoming increasingly more common today, since more and more seniors are being left on their own. Modern changes in society, especially in China, have increased the number of seniors with empty nest syndrome. Let's take a look at what our course states about this. Now, however, many elderly people or senior citizens are left on their own. This is partly the result of people having fewer children and also because of massive urbanization. Young and middle-aged adults have left the rural areas for economic opportunities only available in large urban centers. When children in China move to large cities like Shanghai or Beijing for work, the parents are left alone in their hometown. Empty nest syndrome certainly sounds like a serious issue. So what are the impacts of it? Originally, research suggested that those experiencing empty nest syndrome were vulnerable to a number of issues. These issues included depression, alcoholism, identity crisis, and marital conflicts. However, recent research suggests the opposite. Newer studies suggest that an empty nest might actually reduce work and family conflicts. With an empty nest, parents have new opportunities. They are able to reconnect with each other, improve their marriage, and spend time on interests which they previously didn't have time for. Every parent goes through the experience of their children leaving home. So how can a parent cope with empty nest syndrome? While it may not be an easy time for some parents, there are 4 key things we can do. First, we can stay supportive. To do this, we should focus on what we can do to help our child succeed when they leave home. If we continue to try and have our children follow our expectations when they leave home, we may push them away even further. Second, we should keep in touch. When living apart, parents and children can maintain a close relationship. Try to maintain regular contact through visits, phone calls, messages, or video chats. Third, we can seek support if needed. If you're having a difficult time with an empty nest, ask for support from loved ones and other close contacts. Share your feelings with them and ask them about their experience with empty nest syndrome if they have experienced it. If you are feeling seriously depressed, seek a doctor for assistance. Fourth, focus on staying positive. The extra time and energy you have from not having to care for your children can go into other areas. Working on improving your marriage or pursuing personal interests might help you adapt to this big change in your life. Keeping busy in these ways can help keep your mind off of your child's departure. Since many seniors are being left on their own, there are a number of areas which need drastic changes. These independent seniors need to be able to take care of themselves. Issues like social policies, medicine, and transportation need to be altered to accommodate the growing number of independent seniors. Because people are living longer, some social policies which were suitable in the past do not work in today's world. The legal retirement age is a good example. In China, the legal retirement age is 60 years old for men and 50 years old for women. These ages were established in the 1950s, when the average life expectancy was much lower. These numbers are no longer realistic, considering China today has a life expectancy of 75 years. From this, a big strain is placed on the economy. Money from government programs like Social Security and pensions are used to support retired seniors. If people are living longer and the retirement age does not change, more money is needed in order to support them. This means higher taxes for those in the workforce and less money for the government to spend on other areas. Some countries, including China, are implementing social policies to adjust. One example of this is raising the retirement age. 40 years of work is not enough to support a person 30 years after they retire. The argument is that having your life jam-packed with busy work, raising kids, taking care of parents your whole life, and then suddenly having a 30-year break is not a good model. Instead, work could be spread out for more years, while the number of working days per week and hours worked per day could be reduced. More breaks can be integrated into work schedules to give more time for those other obligations. This will help governments reduce the strain on government programs to support people for decades longer than they should. And this will also help individuals because they will feel better from having a less stressful life. China has taken steps to curb the aging population issue. In 1979, China established its one-child policy to limit its population growth. But the government recognized the aging population and dwindling workforce as a compelling issue. To correct this, the one-child policy was abolished, and a two-child policy took its place in 2015. The two-child policy helps ensure the working population will remain stable and the elderly can be cared for. According to projections by the National Health and Family Planning Commission, by the year 2050, the two-child policy is expected to result in an extra 30 million working-age people. In 2002, the World Health Organization helped bring the idea of active aging into the mainstream. Active aging is the process of enhancing the quality of life for seniors. It focuses on optimizing opportunities for health, participation, and security as people age. It's active because it refers to participation in social, economic, cultural, spiritual, and civic affairs. It's not only about being physically active or participating in the workforce. Older people who retire or are disabled can actively contribute to their families, peers, communities, and nations. The aim of active aging is to extend healthy life expectancy and the quality of life for aging individuals. Being healthy includes physical, mental, and social well-being. Therefore, active aging policies and programs promote not just physical health status, but mental health and social connections as well. Maintaining autonomy and independence as one grows older is also a key goal. Today, the World Health Organization is taking the concept of active aging even a step further. They believe that healthy aging is something every individual should experience. WHO defines healthy aging as the process of developing and maintaining the functional ability that enables well-being in older age. Healthy aging is about creating opportunities that enable people to live valuable lives. Seniors should have the opportunity to pursue what makes their lives valuable. They should also be able to live in environments that support basic needs and their needs to live a valuable life. To add, government policies should be implemented to ensure these needs are fulfilled. Social policies are not the only thing seeing changes. Medicine is being refocused to aid the aging population. Most of the medical advances in the last century involved acute diseases that affected mainly young people. But one of the major epidemiologic trends of the current century is the rise of chronic and degenerative diseases, like Alzheimer's. This issue is growing in countries throughout the world, regardless of income level. Chronic and long-term diseases are more common than before due to increasing life expectancy. Because of this, medical progress is constantly progressing forward to keep up with the changes in medical conditions. This is leading to advancements in other areas of medicine. Besides medicine, we also need to make changes in urban and suburban areas so our old folk can get around better. Currently, cities are designed so that healthy, working people can get from place to place. It's not easy for an independent senior to get on the bus or subway. This means it's not easy for them to get to a doctor's appointment or relax in their favorite park. Simply getting around on foot isn't easy either. There are very few resting places, like benches, for seniors who frequently need to stop and take a rest. For disabled seniors, a lack of ramps and elevators makes it difficult to enter buildings or access areas outdoors. Because of these issues, seniors are forced to move to isolated senior communities in order to be able to access everything they need on a daily basis. Adapting cities to be more age-friendly means senior citizens won't need to move to isolated senior communities. Outdoor spaces can receive upgrades. More facilities such as elevators and ramps that help senior citizens to move around should be added. The ones that do exist can be upgraded and made sure that they are in safe working condition. There should be adequate rest places like benches, and the distance between rest places should not be too long. Transportation also needs to be redesigned. Routes of public transportation should run to destinations like medical facilities and parks. Designated transport stops can be located in close proximity to where older people live. And senior communities should not be isolated units. To promote and foster interaction among different age groups, community facilities can be combined. Take the Netherlands, for example. They have been combining dorm rooms with nursing homes to promote interaction among young people and seniors. Traditionally, seniors have been treated differently than young and middle-aged citizens, and not in a good way. It's as if the elderly are treated as and spoken to as if they were babies. But many of our elderly citizens are not stupid. They are, in fact, useful and contribute more than they get credit for. They've had rich experiences and lives that they can share with the world and make it a better place. It's very difficult for someone to find a new job if they are over 60 years old. Most companies are looking for hungry new blood that can bring innovation and risk-taking to the table. But certain types of careers require extensive experience that young people generally lack, such as education and medical practice. One expert on the future of aging said something like this. Let's say I was advising a tech entrepreneur today about how to compose their workforce. I'd tell them neither to hire two 20-something college grads with engineering degrees, nor two 65-year-olds who used to work in the aerospace industry. Rather, I'd tell them to hire one of each. One will bring the creativity and risk-taking, and the other will bring the experience and ability to see across sectors. What we take for granted is that there's much that younger generations stand to learn from the older generations. In turn, the older generations benefit from sharing their knowledge with the younger generations. Sharing their knowledge can help keep them active and give them a sense of fulfillment. One study shows that those who acted as tutors or mentors were 3 times as likely as their peers to feel joy instead of despair as they hit 70. Another hidden fact is that many retirees are active volunteers. Nearly a quarter of people aged 55 and older in the US volunteer, contributing more than 3.3 million hours of service at food banks and fundraising enterprises in 2015. This brought about an economic benefit of $77 billion. Additionally, individuals in the 65 to 74 year age range contribute more hours of volunteer work on average than any other age range. In Australia, it is estimated that the average hours of voluntary work is 1.4 hours per week, or 72 hours per year. Older people contribute more time, with the average hours of voluntary work increasing steadily with age, up to 2.5 average hours per week among those in the 65 to 74 years age group. Also, Chinese wisdom considers elders as valuable assets to families. In Chinese, there is a saying, "Elders are family treasures." This reflects how an aging population can benefit a family and the whole society at large. With a positive mindset and sound physical condition, an aging population could become an economic and cultural powerhouse. Let's review what we've discussed today. First, we discussed challenges brought by the aging population. And second, we explain how to cope with the aging population. Alright, that's it for today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!